The overall aim of the workshops was for the kids to come in and to create some music for final performance on the third day. We were taking starting points as a piece by Astor Piazzolla, so taking some chords from there where we could then create our own music on top of them. You have to kind of create an environment where everyone's comfortable creating and offering ideas. So we did some games and some activities to start off with, some moving around, some clapping, some improvisation using clapping, because it's quite hard to ask somebody to make up a tune, make up something now, just play. If you can make it a really small sort of frame of creativity for that process, it makes it a lot easier. So having a rhythm and a gap, and the same rhythm again, another gap, and then improvising a clapping rhythm within the gap, then putting that onto a single note, putting it onto 2 different pitches, 3 different pitches, and suddenly they find they're producing something that sounds much more musical, and you can start to pull that in and feed it into the bigger piece, and suddenly, before you know it, you've got some music and you've got the start of a piece.
It's really nice to compose your own piece with the whole orchestra and work together.
Like, you don't have to play what they put in front of you, you can change it, you can add stuff and you can make it yours.
I think it was awe-inspiring really. It helped me to think more about what I'm doing, and the fact that John, there was no right or wrong answer for him. Anything that you did was right.
So we had an older group of participants who stayed with us in the afternoon, and they created a different piece that was based around a Bach violin concerto. And we listened to that as a starting point, and then an open question of what shall we do next? And we can be as outrageous and mad with it as we want to. We can start off with that and then go somewhere completely different. And then we created our own chords, created our own harmonies, which are much more 21st century. So there's something a bit more lively about those. One note's in a C-sharp minor chord. Fantastic. Could we have a different chord? Or give me a note name for a chord. Go on, C minor. Is it? C minor, okay. So with the first group, with the whole group, when we were working with everybody, I kind of gave them a harmonic framework. And with the second group, they created that themselves, and then they could play with this, and then they could do it. So it's a really nice process. We came up with two really great pieces.
I think they had to do a lot of thinking. I certainly did. I'm not used to sitting at the back of an orchestra following dots and following a conductor. It is a very different skill to putting a piece together with lots of different instruments, lots of players of different abilities. So it was very demanding, but I think it made them really think, and it forced them to communicate in ways which perhaps they wouldn't necessarily do with people they don't know. It's nice to spend a bit of time with them, and not too many, so you get to know them, you get to know their characters, and you get to know what they're good at and what they need help at, and that makes it much more fulfilling, actually, to be able to, you know, help someone properly.
Why don't you go instead of going out?
We all had quite a high adult to student ratio, in fact, which is lovely because these professional players are putting themselves in the same position as these young players as well. They don't know what's going to happen. And lots of classically trained musicians can have quite a bit of tension about what do we do. It's not on the page, we've got to make it up. Oh, how do I do this? And it's good that the participants saw them throw themselves into that position, and then just having the model of these fantastic players who can play all sorts of stuff right next to them is the most amazing thing as well. There's something aspirational to be playing alongside these fantastic musicians. For them to see then the orchestra rehearse in a rehearse as well, and see them in this different context, and to understand what their job is, what their role is within that, is really important too. When you've got a job that's kind of quite an open job, people come to watch you do your job, and you know that person who's on stage. You've connected with them, they've shown you some things on the instrument, they've talked to you. It becomes so much more inspiring, actually. So I think it's a really nice thing to have had that visit. It's been, you know, fantastically enriching experience for the whole project. Having Joshua Bell's participation at the end was the most amazing thing. He came to the rehearsal and he listened to their pieces, and he was genuinely interested and I think slightly surprised about what they'd managed to create.
It's really great. Tell me how did you come up with this piece?
How did we come up with this?
Hi everybody.
And they'd met him the night before in the rehearsal and they'd had a question and answer with him. So kind of that dynamic is very much he's the important guy in this situation, but for having that man come in and be impressed by the work that they've done, and genuinely so, that's the most amazing boost.
For us that have studied a lot of Bach and Mozart, where we're supposed to follow exactly what's written, it's fun to have that sort of liberation, and so it's great that you guys are doing that. Really good.
So the orchestra ended up playing their accompaniment patterns, accompanying this internationally renowned violinist. And then he played along in the performance as well.
I've enjoyed working with professional musicians and also being able to compose our own music, and it's just nice to play with other people as well.
You get to meet like really famous violinists such as Joshua Bell, and we can like ask them questions or advice. It's a really good opportunity and it's really cool.
If you play an instrument, it's worth coming, and it's just worth getting your ideas out there because the people will be there to listen.
There's the thrill of knowing that you had that idea and that idea is in the final piece. And those little seeds of creativity, I think they're sown and they may sort of be harvested many years later down the line, just in terms of I did this, I can create something. There's a self-confidence there that can start to be built.